Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 132nd edition of our Issues Room broadcast. This evening, we would like to welcome you wherever you are to another presentation here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I'm Volcano Shelton here at Anchor tonight, and I'd like to welcome all of you wherever you are. Welcome to our 132nd broadcast. Good evening, Fergie Monyu. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, this evening we gonna be eulogizing, celebrating one of our deceased colleagues from the Association of the Liberian Journalists here in the Americas. Um, ALJA is, of course, the umbrella organization of Liberian retired and some active journalists uh, who came out of Liberia and are here in the US. Of course, we have what we'll consider affiliate members who are in Europe and back home and other parts of the world. And one of our colleagues passed away a few weeks ago, and she'll be buried this weekend. And so we thought it wise to give her flowers at this time, even though we, uh, you know, didn't do it while she was alive, but it's still something that we're doing in memory of her. And this evening we'll have the president of Alja, Joe Mason, who will be joining us at some point. The Minnesota chapter of where she reside prior to her demise. Um, the chapter president is Lincoln Bryant. He will be here with us. One of the members and elections commission members. Uh, Kadiadu Buhiri will be here with us. We also have the former executive director of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota, OLM, Madam Georgette Gray will be here with us, and Reverend Stephen Cole, who is of the Christ Triumphant Outreach Ministry in Minnesota. We believe it is the church where Marie was a member and worshipped at prior to her demise. So she will be here with us as well. So we say thank you so much for joining us. This is just a gist of what we'll be doing here tonight. We'd like to welcome Mapuho Emi Bachu and continue to share the word, share the link, invite others. Let me join Moses Sandy out there in Delaware. Moses, I see you sporting your Alja scarf. I don't know what you always turn everything into Alja. I got problem with you, my man. Yeah, man. This emeritus thing, I don't even know what to do with you about him, my man.
My man, Aja is everyone's baby.
Mm.
It's Aja that got us to where we are today. The
Stop that.
prominence.
What you
And
mean?
let me
We
say this.
got Aja to
No,
where Aja
no,
is.
no, no. When I
Uh-huh.
say Aja that got us, the
Okay.
journalism. Let me not limit to our job, but let me say it's the journalism career that got us to where we are today.
Uh-huh.
It
Don't say
laid the
Aja now.
foundation.
Then you'll be
So
taking for some LBS, my man. the great
yeah,
great old school of
so
broadcasting.
I tell you, my man, LBS laid the foundation, the journalism career. We started from there, and we are happy that we assembled in the United States. We're able to put together organization, a very vibrant, cohesive organization called the Association of Liberian Journalists that brings together retired and current Liberian journalists in the Americas. So if you were to flip me around today, everywhere you see, you're going to see Aja. I feel good being with my peers.
Thank you.
Journalism is my first, passion in life. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're here tonight to celebrate Marie, but before we do that, the president is here. He's in studio backstage. We'll be bringing him shortly. Is there anything on your end in trending news quickly you want to quickly, let's just be snappy as we move along because we don't want to keep our guests too long that
Yeah.
you want to mention so we before we proceed?
Yeah. We got two major developments that broke today. Uh, this evening, the chief executive officer of Spoon Communications Network, Mr. Waterspoon, Stanton Waterspoon, tendered his resignation today. as CEO of Spawn Communications Network. He appointed Miss Titi Kane, our former co-worker sister. She was appointed as CEO of Spawn Communications Network. Titi is a career broadcast journalist. We all were at ELBC, so we have explicit confidence in Titi's ability. Uh, you know, um I want to applaud Mr. Witherspoon for the decision that he made when his controversy broke. I'm not trying to take credit for what has happened, but I'm one of the guys who raised the red flag and called on Mr. Witherspoon to resign and recuse himself from the Spoon Talk Show because his name has become toxic. I think after weeks of concentration, discussion with others, he made a rightful decision today. And it is the same words of encouragement that his colleagues who left Spoon Talk extended to him before leaving. You remember, for Canada, Stanton P. I mean, how you call it, Tourmaline George, Dr. Peabody, Kefan Sam, and what's the other person?
And Savvy.
Yeah, Ben Sanvi. They said, look, we need to rebrand. We want you to step aside. At the time, I don't think Mr. Spoon was ready to make that decision. And, and other people tried to mislead him. But I think he had a sober reflection and he realized that the most appropriate thing to do now is to step aside and let him focus on his legal matter. There is a vindication for me. Volcano, when I wrote that piece, even colleagues who know me, even in Delaware, they took exception. But I say that was the right thing for Mr. Spoon to do, and he has done exactly why others asked him to do. So we want to say thank you to him. And finally, I would like to say that the Liberian Senate today failed to concord with the House of Representatives. Currently the national budget is before the national legislature. We have a compromised House of Representatives. The House of Representatives yesterday, made a decision last week, but the House of Elders, the senators, today decided that it is not the right thing to do. So they did not concord with the House of Representatives. So the budget remains pending. It has not been passed into law. I think that's commendable. It's a commendable action because there are too many things, there are too many flaws that need to be clarified. So let's applaud the Liberian Senate for the heroic action taken today.
And that's temporary, Moses, because they'll go to bed tonight, they'll call them, and some people will get a little caught, and by tomorrow they will pass the
Oh
budget.
man,
So, well, I mean, it's the reality. My
Volcano.
man, Moses, I talk my own just how you see it. And you know they'll come back tomorrow. So just overnight rest. And that's all it is.
But
Because
at least Mamela gave them the credit. At least
but
Mamela
you
got
using the
suit up
word
today.
heroic, like the rescue Liberia from this corrupt pandemic that the people are suffering from. But
Yeah,
anyhow,
yeah.
it's a like our man Jackson Season say, is a step in the right direction. It's laudable.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of decision that
so
they
so
made,
thank you so much. But
Yeah.
Moses, we have President Joe Mason
I
here
think we
in
should bring
studios
the
with us.
president in now.
So
Yeah.
tonight again, as I said, to reiterate, we're here to kind of eulogize and celebrate one of our colleagues from the Association of Liberian Journalists here in the Americas, Marie Zai, who recently passed away, and I believe all of the you know uh, going away, meaning putting her to rest events is this weekend, but he's going to discuss it more. We expect other guests to come. As of yet, it is only the president. Good evening, Mr. President. Good to see you, my man. The last time I saw you in person was where? Was it in Minnesota or was it in New England? I
Man,
think
it
it was
was in Minnesota, you remember? It was in Minnesota.
yeah, yeah, because yeah.
When the man
When we
offered
ate that,
that
when we ate that,
delicious
when we
potato
ate
green, man.
that nice potato greens at the president house that night. You remember Moses when we arrived? That
Yeah,
was
but man,
September.
it was
Actually, it
very
was September.
delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Welcome,
But
Mr.
thanks,
President.
man. It's
Yeah.
good to be back on the issues room, even though it's for much more somber
Yeah.
reason to memorialize or pay tribute to our fallen colleague. But I think it's a good thing that we get to celebrate her, who she was, what she meant to us as individuals, and what she meant to the organization to which we all belong, and that is the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. So thank you all for doing this. Really hopeful that the other panelists, to include our pastor, the Reverend Stephen Cole, Mrs. Georgia Gray, Mr. Lincoln Bryan, who is the local chapter president here of Alger. I hope we can all come out tonight and just celebrate this extraordinary woman, this wonderful woman who has departed this world too early.
Okay, Lincoln is
Thank
here.
you.
Let me bring in Lincoln. Lincoln,
Thank you,
welcome,
Mr.
man. How
President.
you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, man. Great to be on your show for the very first time.
This is
Yeah.
where you feel at home, honestly, because it, Moses is trying to make this a subsidiary of Alja.
Aja. It's an
Oh,
Aja affair.
He always trying to do that. I keep saying, "Oh man, no, we can't. We got to
But
separate
my
from
man,
Alja. We
we are
we
here
want
to memorialize a fallen journalist, right, Mr. President?
That's
we want the
true.
public to
That's
say
true.
we
Yeah.
want the public to say, but where the man is standing, you know.
But man,
But
we
Steve, my
standing
man,
with our
welcome.
organization now.
I know, right? That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, but welcome, Lincoln.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate
Yeah,
it,
sure.
everybody.
So we're still waiting on the other two guests, but before we even begin this conversation, Joe, Moses sent me a clip that you did
Very
in
beautiful
memory of her,
documentary. Yeah.
and we would like to play this clip. It is our hope that many of the Aja members will be tuned in tonight. Hopefully, they're all aware. We threw this in the chat room. We put it the promo, the flyer in the chat room. Uh, because we'll open the line at some point where everyone will come in and just a word or two about Marie.
Yeah.
And so we want to start with the clip and then we'll go into the conversation. Hopefully, we'll buy time for the other panelists to join us. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay. So
Go
we'll go to
ahead.
the clip at this time.
I've seen the God of wonders doing mighty things in a day of rest, setting captives free. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star, the ruler of the nations, the great and mighty one. Heaven and earth adore me, angels bow before me. He's the mighty blessed one, the great I am. He is the great I am. Nobody like him. He is the great I am. He's holy and mighty, Lord. He's the great I am. great I am. He is the great I am. He is the great I am. You are 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 the great I am. Nobody like you, Lord. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. King of all nations. You are the great I am. Greater than the greatest. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, Lord. Hallelujah, Lord, we exalt. The heavens declare your great and mighty power. The heavens declare your great and mighty power. You're greater than the greatest. You're mightier than the mightiest. You're stronger than the strongest. Better than the best. You're 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 better than the best. Yeah, you are the greatest. You are the greatest. You are the greatest. Yeah. You are bigger than the biggest. You're the soon coming King. You're the great I am. You are the great I am. Nobody like you. You are the great I am. Indeed, you're the great I am. You are the great I am. Lord, you're the great I am. You are the great I am.
Which I get better and if I didn't I was going away. So I go to work. When I get straight and wait for myself going away. And for myself, everything I don't wind up in the day I just spend. I'm not gonna sit down here and be crying inside myself. I will go, I will live. Yes, I've been killing people. I will be the last. I will not give up. I will fight this. I will fight this by the grace of God. I don't always be on my side with the So I thank you for all your prayers. I thank you all. I'm so happy for every one of you.
You're the lion and the lamb. Yeah. You are the soul coming King. Redeemer of my soul. Lifter of my head. Lifter of my head. You are the great I am. Oh Lord, you are the great I am. Like you.
Well, Joe, let me just say thank you first of
Yeah.
all. This is extremely, extremely excruciating when you think about uh, what this means. And I mean, just hearing her saying, I will be the last that cancer will have a hold on.
Yeah.
But the truth is, God, in His infinite grace, knows exactly what's good for us. And I think her fight was over. And He said, listen, come on home because this battle is not yours, it's mine. And you've demonstrated your human fight, but let me bring you home to rest. And listen, and let me just put a quick message to Facebook because sometimes they have a way when we do these little,
Yeah. Yeah.
what you call it, promotion and the music in the background. Please don't make a mess with our broadcast because of that song. We own no copyright to it, and so it was just the music that was used to kind of put a color
Member.
to this
Yeah.
what you call memoriam for our colleague. Moses, I don't know where you want us to start, but this is very teary, and I would say let's start with Lincoln because Lincoln was more interactive with the chapter before we come to the president. Lincoln, I didn't have the opportunity to work with Marie, not even in Liberia, not here, And considering proximity and geographical location, we only crossed paths a few times when we went to convention. But we really didn't have any kind of per se relationship. Who was Marie? Tell us a little bit about what you know and how you experience her relationship, and then we'll come to Joe.
Thank you so much, Volcano. So, Mary, let me start from Liberia. I was not too close to Mary in Liberia, but here in America, I became close to Mary. From Mary and I, were members of the same church. Uh, and then Mary and I got close with the whole thing about Aja. And my memories about Mary is she's a person that when she get into stuff, she want to see it to the end. She want to see success when she get into stuff. When it comes to the chapter working, Mary was one of the person that I used to rely on when we having event or programs. Even if Mary was not well and she come from work at night, she would come at my house just to help my wife to do stuff. You would tell Mary, you're not feeling well. Try to go home. She said, no, this is our organization. We have to make sure that we participate. We have to make sure that things are successful. We had an event at a park here that I vividly remember when Mary was still battling cancer. Mary came from work that night. She was not well. Still, she came at the house. It was like 9 at night. And then my wife was preparing some stuff for the park event. That was a full sale, if I can remember. And then Mary brought her food here as well. And she was here at night. She was helping to prepare stuff. And my wife was like, Mary, not feeling well. Can you go home now? She said, no, Willie, I will still be here with you because I know one to help you right now. And I have to help you. She was a very calm person. When she get into a situation, she want to get it done. And she was a very friendly person. And whenever you ask Mary to help you with something, she will go beyond, her own reach to make sure that she get it done for you. If you say, Mary, we're having this meeting and I want you to do this. And if Mary said yes to you, just rely on her. She'll sure to do that. If she never had the time, she'll say, oh, Lincoln, this time around, I don't have the time, to do that. And when I was not fully involved with Aja, she was one of those that were encouraging me. Lincoln, Aja is here. We have to get involved. We have to make the chapter active. We have to make everything working. Mary and Dima, then I got to know Dima now through Mary because they were like buddy. So two of them, they were like very encouraging with the Aja thing. And we all know Dima's story when even she was not well, she was still attending Aja event. And that was Mary, man, a very calm person. And then we're member of the church. When it comes to situation there as well, she was very, very involved, and everybody at the church right now kind of missing her. And like I was telling my wife, like we're coming to this weekend and we kind of thinking about burying Mary that was around yesterday. It's kind of painful. It's something that kind of hurt. And sometimes when stuff happens right away, it doesn't really get to you. But after a point, or after a while, you will sit and kind of begin to think about the person. Like I was sitting here one time, I was telling my wife, and I was playing a song, and that song was so sad. And I started thinking about Mary, and just tears were just rolling down my eyes. I can't imagine. When Mary was sick, and we kind of encouraging her, Mary, you're going to live and we'll pray with you, keep strong. And she would be like, yo, Lincoln, I know I will not die. I know I will not die. They say I will die, but I will not die. She was kind of very encouraging. She had hope, and that's the kind of person she was, very courageous person.
Mr. Mason?
Yeah, look, let me just reflect on the video a little bit. I've done quite a few of these memorial videos, these tributes. This one was extremely difficult to complete. I started almost a week ago, and then I put it down, become emotional at some point, and I said, well, I really have to make an effort to finish this video. And so I think I did a night ago. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and once I wrapped the video up and watched it from beginning to end, it was so emotional for me. Good thing is, I was alone by myself in my office, and so I was able to just let it out. I reflected on so many things, on how she wanted so much to live, and how she fought this council as hard as she could. I thought about all the people she left behind who meant so much to her, especially her only son, who she was unfortunately not able to see because he's in fire with Morocco. I thought about all those times you shared Lincoln mentioned some of those times, whether it was a local chapel meeting and you found out in the kitchen preparing pepper soup, or just doing something, whether it was at her house where she would host us from time to time. I thought about all those unfulfilled goals and dreams she had. And so it was very, very, very emotional. And then I caught myself because knowing Marie, she would not want us to feel sorry for her or feel sorry for ourselves because of what is happening. She would want to celebrate in the life she lived. And so that's what I will try to do tonight and going forward, and just celebrating the extraordinary person she was and what she meant to us, and what she left behind. Marie was Her life was an epitome of so many things. Make a mention of you, friendship. She was a wonderful friend, and people will say this thing all the time that she would, take the last clothes she was wearing off her back to give it to you. That is the kind of person Marie was. Just spoke to another colleague of ours who is a very good friend of Marie a few days ago, and she said to me, Joe, I spoke to Marie on the week she died on that Wednesday. She died on a Sunday. She said, I spoke to Marie on Wednesday. Marie offered to send me money. And I said to her, no, you're not feeling very well. She said, no, I will send it to you anyway. And she knew I was going to refuse the money. So she went ahead and sent the money to a third party. And I got the money after I heard she was dead.
Hmm.
That's the kind of person Mary was, an extremely giving person. She would give of herself. She was a very friendly person. The other thing you can talk about Mary is she was someone who was a deeply devoted person, devoted to her faith. She would talk about her faith all the time, even when she found herself in a very difficult situation. She would say, you know what, just pray for me. That's all she would say. Joe, oh, blah, 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 just go ahead and pray for me. She will always be the one to lift your spirit up. So if you went to her and asked her how you doing, Marie, and she would say to you, I'm good. Just go ahead and pray for me. That was the kind of person she was. Very positive, very upbeat person. She was also someone who was deeply involved in the community. I mean, she held memberships in so many organizations that I've lost count. And not that she was just she didn't just hold membership in these organizations, but she was very, very active. She was not one to just join an organization and be absent. No, she was very active. She paid her dues regularly. She was actively involved. If meetings were being held, she would do her best to attend meetings. And so that's the kind of person she was. She had endeared herself to the community here in Minnesota. So much so that Lincoln mentioned there was a fundraiser held for Marie, I think sometime in August. The community showed up in numbers that were just unbelievable. Even now, as we talked about her burial in a few days, the community has just come together. People are just volunteering to do this, to do that. She was just that kind of person, a people person, deeply, deeply, deeply rooted in the community. An incredible member of Alja. You talk about Alja, Moses, and I'll just mention this. Mary missed our convention in New Jersey in 2021 just because she was dealing with this the same cancer situation, and she said when we came back, Joe, I'm going to go to the convention in 2022 no matter what. She was determined to go. And so, as we got closer to the convention, obviously, we were all still very much concerned about the status of her health at the time. And so I kept asking her, Marie, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? And I mean, we also felt it was an important thing for her if she's going to come, just be in the company of people who were her peers, who were colleagues, to uplift her spirit. We felt it was going to be very therapeutic for her in terms of her recovery. And so we're happy that she was going to come. And so we made all the arrangements, got the hotel ready, bought the plane ticket. I think it was about 10 or 8 days to the trip. And then her situation got a little more complicated. And she called me. I think she needed oxygen, and she now had to be moving back and forth with this oxygen thing. We made it impossible for her to travel. She called me. She said, Joe, I really want to go. I can still make it, but I don't want, especially with this new development in my health
Yeah.
situation, I don't want to be a distraction to the convention. I mean, we were all extremely disappointed, but we understood the situation. So it just speaks to how committed she was, to an organization, AJA and other organizations to which she belongs. So I think we really miss her. She was an extraordinary person.
Thank you, Joe. Let me bring in Kadi Adu. She's already here. And Kadi, what we're
Yeah.
doing is just talking about Mari, your experience with her, the person she was. Um,
hmm I just sat here listening to Joe, and he just sums it all. But first and foremost, let me say hats off to you, Volcano and Moses, for giving Mary the honor, and generally I would say for honoring we the women in Alja this opportunity to memorialize Marie. Um, it's so painful to say because Marie and I used to talk till late, maybe like 1 a.m., we'll be on the phone, just talking from one thing to another. And you never can tell that Mary was going through such. She had that faith that, we all pray that we definitely should have in that type of situation. Because, when people normally say health is wealth, it's true. When you get sick, it's like everything else go out of the window, your faith, everything. But Mary was a different kind of species. She was just so special. And I would say we will miss her. She will be dearly missed. And one thing I will take from her is her tenacity to fight, even in the midst of the storm. Um, there was nothing that you could tell Mary, like, imagine doctors, everybody telling you, oh, you're going to die tomorrow. Then you say, no, it's not going to happen. So her faith was really top notch. And it's so painful. I'm going to come to Minneapolis. I did not want to come because of all the travel we've been doing with Alja recently. But when I looked at myself and looked at the relationship I built with Mary over the time, in Monrovia, we were not that close. We were just like probably when we meet to programs and stuff. But since she got to Alja and we met at convention, she just, for some reason, we female, I would say, like I always say the truth, sometimes it's kind of hard for people to like gel, you know, but Mary was a different kind of person, and when we would talk and she would tell me stuff, personal stuff about herself, and she and myself would talk, and I just felt like she was like a big sister to me, or maybe like an aunt that I never gotten. So I would just say thanks to the issue room for this broadcast. Joe said it all. I've not heard what Lincoln have said, so I'll have to go back and watch the broadcast. I came on earlier, but I was driving, the DC traffic most of the time.
It's kind of crazy. Hmm.
That's
Thank you.
true.
Thank you, Moses.
Yeah.
Share your views, share your thoughts.
Yeah.
I already said that,
mm,
I didn't really have the relationship with Marie, but at your level as the president emeritus, you know,
No,
uh,
I think Volcano,
yeah.
Moses. I think Moses' relationship with Marie goes way
Many
back. I
years.
think goes
yeah, so
beyond.
that's why I want to hear from
Yeah,
him.
goes beyond.
Yeah.
And before Moses, you just talked about that. I think one of the things that is important that we talked about tonight as media colleagues of Marie is that, too often when we come to the United States, many of us reinvent ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Marie did. She came to the U.S. and she started working in healthcare. So she was no longer a practicing journalist. So many folks here in Minnesota don't know that side of Marie, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how involved she was to the media, the exceptional, videographer she was. So I think as we remember her, it will be important that we highlight that aspect of her life or professional life, so people understand, know that she was more than just Marie, the healthcare worker who live and work in Minnesota. She did a lot more than that before she came. So Moses goes all the way back to, I think, the Ministry of Information, where Marie
Hmm.
worked, before she joined the LC. So I'll let Moses pick up from there, and then I can
So,
throw
so
in
Moses,
that.
I'll beg your indulgence to hold your position, since you have the historical data with relationship and goes as far back as the Ministry of Information. Let
Give
me
it to
bring
you,
in
Chief.
Georgette N. Gray,
Yeah.
who is the former executive director of OLM. Georgette, welcome to the Issues
Georgia.
Room. Your first time here. This is the 132nd edition. We're
Is
broadcasting
she is
tonight.
she
We
monitoring,
memorialize.
Georgette? Are you monitoring? Because there's echo in the background.
What's this?
Yeah.
Georgette,
Somebody's monitoring. Yeah.
Georgette, can you hear me? Are you nodding or can you say a yes?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
And
good.
there's no one
Yeah.
here.
All right.
I
So
think the echo
let's
is coming
but let
from
people
her.
mute. Moses, mute your mic. All of those speakers who are not speaking, mute your mics. Probably that will help. Okay. Uh, so again, welcome to this broadcast. We're here memorializing our former colleague from Alja, but I know you know her in a different way, and so we went around the room just talking about the experience and how you got to know Marie, who she was, so that our audience and viewers and can know the person we're talking about here tonight. And hopefully the pastor will come, and then we'll get to Moses because he's has a long span of history with her.
Sure. Thank you. First, I want to say thank you to all of you. Aja, you're doing an amazing job kind of creating an awareness and just talking about your members, especially that of Marie and her memory will live on. How do I know Marie? Marie and I go way, way back. I am a product of Swan Mission School, and I was there 1986, 87, way back when Marie was on campus at Swan, years back. And we separated after high school, went our own ways. Marie was busy in Monrovia. I went into my own world. The Civil War happened. We separated. And we found ourselves years later in Minnesota. Um, Doing community work, I happened to run into Marie planning swam missions reunion. Marie was a part of it in school functions. She was a part of it, but she made herself known by participating in every possible event she could. Where there was strength, she was there. She was a part of a lot of organizations that she not only put her name on the roster to say I'm a member of, she actually paid her dues, participated all the way when even she was sick. And if there was a meeting going on, there was a conference call, there was a Zoom meeting, she was a part of that. Marie, uh, from the community's perspective, when I needed help at the community, our folks, we are all Liberians, and
we are a very difficult, challenging group to work with. So serving in leadership positions kind of really teaches us a lot. And working with my Minnesota community is a good one. It's a really nice experience.
I'm not sure. She seems to be frozen. Um,
Better with the TPS or DED events and activities that involve thousands of Liberians in and out of Minnesota. When we needed people on the front line to come and help, make their voices known, have their presence there, Marie was this strong support person in the back. So a lot of people in the community know her from those different associations um, that she was a part of. Marie became this person. And I tell you something funny. I didn't even know Marie's involvement with the soccer teams here in Minnesota until we did the fundraiser for her back in July, trying to help her rally around her what was happening to her and just give her support. And I got a call from one of the soccer players. Just like, "Oh, are you talking about Marie Zard? This is the person?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh no, we got to be a part of that." I was like, "Okay, the community is invited, but why?" She's like, The person went. I was like, "You woman who would be on the soccer field, Marie would cook a pot of soup and would be sitting there. And she would drive her car up her van and say, 'Hey, y'all practicing? I got food for y'all.' And everybody would be like, 'What?'" It became that thing. She made it her thing that even the soccer players, like when she bring her soup, would gather money and say, "Okay, Marie, thank you for bringing it up. Here's something for you to help." She would take it and go home and cook another pot of soup and bring it back. And then they would go like, "We didn't tell you to cook." He said, "Well, y'all gave me money. I didn't ask you to." So that is kind of the person you're talking about. Someone that didn't just live in the community. We have too many people that live in communities and isolate themselves from the community, don't want to be bothered with the issues and concerns of others. We have so many people that just sit back and like, "I don't want to be bothered with your Liberian people think." Every one of us have our own rights. But as a community leader myself, it helps. I always say people is always help for everybody to come in. And even if it's one thing you can do, it will make a big difference in the lives of others. You never know. But you help to take away some of the stress and burden from your leaders. And Mary was that person that we could count on. She was always available. And it's like I always say to anybody, Mary was like the easiest. When I say kids, it's the easiest person I had to rally community for her, because once you have laid a foundation, you have lived a life with the people, my dear, your people will show up. And our people don't, they don't, I mean, they will show up, and they have shown up. They have shown up so much until people are still calling, asking, "What do you guys need? How can we help? We want to be a part of this." But in short, that is the Marie you're talking about. She was a community person. She was a mother. She was a good friend to many people. She was that confidant to a lot of folks. People talk about some of the challenges they had and ways that how Marie came out for them. And you would never know she did those things. But that's the kind of person she was. And it makes it so easy to coordinate her funeral and make arrangements for her, because I'm getting all the praises, but I'm sitting back and everybody else is doing the work. That's bottom line. We got a lot of people putting their hands in this and making it happen. So
and we'll
my
come to
shout out
that.
to yeah,
Yeah, we'll come to that.
thank
But let's
you.
hear from Moses quick. Yeah, Moses, share your experience from the Ministry of Information and uh, the Marie you know.
Yeah, but you guys have said almost everything. I think some of you may have noticed when Joe, the documentary that he produced, when I watched the documentary, it bothered me a lot. I was really disturbed. I couldn't watch it, and um, Mary and I, our relationship goes back 34 years ago. We started at the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs, and Tourism in the television department. Those days, we have what they call the ENG, the Electronic News Gathering Equipment. Joe will know exactly what I'm talking about. Those huge cameras. Marie, Dima, Pamagbayu, they were the females we had in the television department. Then I was a very young reporter. Marie was a young woman. Uh, Whenever we went on assignments, those days we had two viable media entities in Liberia, electronics broadcast entities in Liberia that people always wanted to see. They either came from the Ministry of Information or the Liberia Broadcasting System. So those days when we went to events, if the ENG crew was not in the house, if they did not see Marisa, they didn't see Pama Bayu, they did not see that television crew, the people concluded that no reporter was there. When they saw us, then they start, adjusting themselves because they wanted to be on television. That's how far, Mary and I started. When the division started on 1989, 1990, we covered it. We covered the civil crisis. We went to news conferences. Then Samuel Doe was president. The latter days of Samuel Doe administration, we covered the Civil War extensively. Sometimes we went out. We were terrified by some of the things that we saw, happening. And sometimes we're even hesitant. The Ministry of Information, I don't know whether they're still using the Capitol Hill office, but that's where we were. We're very close to the executive mansion. We used to come out, stay on the veranda. When the things in Monrovia were really getting out of control, we saw how people were being transported to the executive mansion, by people. They accused people of being, rebels and all of that. We saw all of those things, and we went to the mansion many times, scary for our own safety. But for all the years I worked with Mary, I got to know her to be somebody who was not controversial. I never saw that woman getting into any verbal or physical altercation with anybody. She was always reaching out. She was a people's person, to put it the other way. Very friendly. She got along with me. She got along with all other reporters in the department, her bosses. She was just a very nice lady. If you talk to Mary today, if Mary was awake today, when you talk to her, she would never call me Moses. She always call me Sandy. Oh, Sandy. Oh, Sandy. That's how, we coexisted. When Joe, the rest of you, when we decided to get Ajat, a real brave, Marie was part of that process. She worked very hard. She supported us. Even on her dying bed, like Joe was saying, this woman wanted to go to Massachusetts. It tells you the kind of person she was. She was committed to Aja. So we have lost a
Got it,
pillar.
yeah.
Joe, you were saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add what Moses mentioned about
Yeah,
Massachusetts, that
yeah,
this one wanted to pay her you wanted to pay her dues. She
yeah.
insisted on paying your dues. I'm like, no one is asking you for money. Why are you insisting on
Yeah.
paying your dues? But that was the kind of person she was. Someone
Mhm.
who realized that she had an obligation and wanted to fulfill that obligation. It doesn't matter what her condition was, that how committed and dedicated she was to a cause that she believed in. And Georgia was saying that. I mean, like I said, I don't know how she did it. How can one person be in all these different organizations and is active and is paying their dues and is
Paying dues,
involved
committing,
as she
yeah.
was? It was just amazing. And before I move on, Volcano, if you don't mind, Moses ended over at the Minister of Information. I just want to just go a little further in terms of the human profession and sojourn because when the war hit, and I was able to talk to a few of her colleagues who worked with her at the LCN, especially in Banga. When the war hit, Marie was among many journalists who either worked for the Ministry of Information or LBS and other news organs that ended up in what then was Greater Liberia. And during that period, I was told in early 1991, 1992, Wilmer Stubblefield then sent out this call. I think he was coordinating the media on that end for Mr. Taylor. So he put out this call for those who worked with the media prior to the crisis to come and serve. So Marie, having worked with the Ministry of Information, volunteer, and that is how she got involved with the LCN again as a camera person, as a videographer. It's interesting that when she did it, and Moses mentioned two other persons, I think those were maybe the only females who were at the time camera women or videographer at the time. And my understanding was Mary would be very aggressive or very professional when it comes to getting the footage she wanted, for the news or getting a picture that she wanted for the news. She would not let her hype be a disadvantage to her. She would go out there and get and cover the story as it needed to be covered. And so I think she continued with the LCN from Manga when they transitioned to Monrovia. That is how I got to know Mary from Monrovia. But I think she was as good a journalist, as anybody. I mean, she was behind the cameras, and people mostly when they're behind the cameras, you don't get to see them or get to know them, but she was behind the cameras, and most of what you saw on television was because of the work they did in the background.
Thank
She
you, Joe.
also, yeah. So over Canada, let me just wrap it quickly. Like Joe was saying, she was not only behind the camera, she was also part of the production crew.
Yeah,
We assemble those clips and make sure that whatever video that was being selected, was in the agreement with the written content of the production. She helped to assemble some of those things. She was very cool. And one thing that I want to say here to everybody tonight, Marie was somebody that did not believe in self pity. No, she was resilient. Every time I talked to that woman, even when she was on her sick bed, she always came across as upbeat. She never said, pity my condition. So I'm saying this to say that regardless of whatever your situation is, do not allow your situation to define you. And that's what Mary was. She remains resilient until she took her last breath.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Moses. We're
Mhm.
gone almost 8 o'clock. We'd like to remind our viewing public here tonight. Welcome to the 132nd edition of the Issues Room. Our broadcast is dedicated to one of our deceased colleagues, Marizar, who formerly worked for the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. This evening we have Georgette Gray, and she is the former executive director of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota. We have Kadiatu Conte, a former member of the Elections Commission of Alja. We have Mr. Lincoln Brownell, Bryant rather. I'm thinking of Lincoln Brownell, the Reverend. But we have Lincoln Bryant, the president of the chapter of Alja in Minnesota, and our national president, Joe Mason, and also my colleague, Moses Sandy, who is the president emeritus of Alja, and I'm
Man, I don't think
Volcano
that man
Shelton.
job for him. Just call me
Welcome,
say member
everyone. We'd like
Aja.
to say thank you for joining us here
Yeah.
tonight. We'll open the line at some point just to encourage those of our membership and people who know Marie watching this broadcast tonight to make a calling and just have a minute or two to share your own experience. But Georgette, I heard that you were the planning chairman, the planning committee chairman on everything. Where are we right now when it comes to the uh, burial,
funeral
and all of
preparation.
the issues surrounding getting Marie to be laid to rest between the wake keeping and that of the burial. Is it Friday into Saturday? Just share with
Yes, it is. Friday, starting at 6 p.m., 6 to 10 p.m., we have the wake keeping. And on Saturday, at 9:30 a.m., the funeral service starts. We are expecting a lot of people. So I'm just throwing it out there. This is Marie Zai we're talking about. We don't have a facility to host the number of people that are going to be coming out. So we are just asking everyone to be patient with us. But the services are all planned, and everything.
share with us the venues and so that people watching will know where exactly all of these activities will be held.
Sure. Let me grab my phone 1 second.
So
Volcano, while she waiting, can you share for us to share with other people that want to watch? I'm trying to get it out, boys.
no, we can share.
The
You
link.
go to TR room. Go to TR room. You can share from there.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
the video I share for is kind of stopping. Other people watching, but it's not going through.
yeah. Go to TR room. So Joe, you can encourage your people. I think Joe, you are muted.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Joe.
Oh
you
no,
can
I was
encourage your
saying
people, Joe.
Aja is a part of the publicity committee for the funeral, so I can go ahead while Georgia is trying to look. I can
Yeah,
go
go
ahead
ahead.
and give you the information. So the wake keeping is on Friday, this Friday, the 3rd of March, and it will be at the Brookdale Christian Center. It's in Brooklyn Center. The address is 6030 North Zexer Avenue. The good thing is the wake and the funeral will be at the same venue. So I think she mentioned earlier, and I will restate that the wake begins at 6 p.m. on that Friday and it ends at 10 p.m. And then the funeral service will begin at 9:30 in the morning and then they end at noon. So again, both events will be at the same venue. That is the Brookdale Christian Center in Brooklyn Center. And then after the funeral service, there will be interment. It will be at the Mount Cemetery in Brooklyn Center as well. So most of the events will be around the same place. And then once the interment is done, the repast again will be at the same venue. So you got one venue for most of the events: the wake, the funeral, and the repast. Georgia, I was just performing my role as publicity person for the funeral. So.
Let me
You've done
let me
an
quickly,
amazing job. Thank
let
you.
me quickly remind folks Lincoln. So that's the link out there. The issues room link. If anyone wants to follow the broadcast, they can use that link to join us here tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
I went in your room and I'm sharing it already, working now.
okay, all right, okay. So, how many people are we anticipating? I know we said Marie is the center of celebration this weekend, but in honest, did you guys have a number that you're planning for? Because you don't want to just leave it open. You want to have numbers to say, hey, this is what we can cater for, this is what the repass will look like, and so forth.
I can tell you this much: in Minnesota, we don't have numbers when it comes to community people like Marie and others. It's open. This is on Facebook. It is on chat rooms. I can tell you we have a planning chat room for folks who wanted to join us willingly. We have over 200 people on that chat room alone. So I always said to people, imagine that everybody on that chat room knows at least two or three other people that will be at this funeral. So if you take that chat room and just multiply it by 3, we are estimating 500-600 people or more at that funeral. That's what we are preparing for this weekend. We know that the seating capacity may be a challenge, especially when it comes to the repast, but the church will most likely be able to accommodate most of us. So we will do it the Liberian way. We will make sure we can get to everybody. We are going to be accommodating, and we've already asked our Minnesota folks like Joe. They know what to do. When we get the need, we step up and we make it happen. So for our community, I cannot set a number to say this is what we're expecting. This is how many people we can accommodate. We know ourselves. We will show up.
Thank you. James Davis is asking about Victoria Christopher Cooper. Well, James, if you're listening, she's deceased. Victoria passed away many years ago, more than 10 years ago in Liberia. But again, good that you remember her. And that was another very, very wonderful journalist, female journalist we had in our country. But let me go back quickly to Lincoln before Moses comes in. Lincoln, tell me what type of void is created as a result of Marie leaving the chapter.
At this point, I don't know how to describe it because Mary was she was somebody that, like I said earlier, that you could count on at any time, even during the midnight hours. Uh, when the chapter is planning, Mary was always there. She was always involved. So I don't know how to describe, because that's a major loss to us, and that's a major loss to us. And then just to bring that to our attention here, like when Mary was very sick, and Georgia knows that, Joe, she encouraged all of us not to be sad. We should celebrate her passing. And as you can see, I'm wearing this color. That one of her colors here. She talked about this orange and lime green, and that's the color we will be wearing during the wake keeping, and we'll be wearing similar colors during the funeral service. So somebody, like, even at the point of her death, when one of her cousin went in the room or she was crying, she told the cousin, "You don't have to cry. Just celebrate. I don't want nobody sharing tears." So that's the kind of person we're talking about. It is something that, I can't really imagine that Mary is normal, because like most of you have said here, even Mary at her dying moment, you call Mary that very day, she will answer your phone, and she will be talking on the phone. You think she wouldn't die. Mary will answer you. On that Sunday, people talk to Mary on the phone. That very Sunday she passed, people talk to her on the phone. She answered the phone. On that Thursday, she came from the hospital. She called me to help her to carry her upstairs. And I left my work. I went there rushing, and she was like, "Lincoln, I went to the hospital. The people gave me a lot of medicine. They just want me to die." And I was like, "Mary, you wouldn't die." She said, "I know I wouldn't die." And we're like literally trying to help Mary to go upstairs. She said, "Lincoln, when I was leaving, I could walk by myself. But now I'm back from the hospital. I can no longer walk." And it was something very painful to hear that. And somebody is telling you, and telling you that the doctor saying, "This is happening to me." And you can imagine that that person is still talking to you, and they're not sharing tears, and they're not feeling sad for themselves, and they're kind of encouraging you, saying that, "I know I will live. I know I will still be with you guys." And from the church end, Mary was sick, but she was still involved with the church. Like I said, we're from the same church. She was still involved, and Mary was still giving support to the church, making her contribution. Mary, when she was alive, she was doing this business where she get like petty loan to people, loan you money and you pay by way interest. And then when she got sick, the job kind of cut down and all of those things. And she was at the care home, and we went there. She said, "God is good to me. Since I got sick, people are kind of paying my debt now. People never used to pay me, but they pay me now, and they're adding more money to it. So I'm getting more money now than I could imagine." So that's what I still supporting. That's what I still making my contribution, paying my tithe to the church, and giving my own support to the church. Because we're wondering, Mary, you still send in check, $100, $200, $300. Where are you getting the money from? And she was just explaining to us how she got the money. She started getting more money coming in now. So I'm sick, the people feeling for me. So those that owe me, they will kind of give me, they owe me 500, and they give me 700, they owe me 1,000, they give me 1,003. So she was the kind of person, that we will really miss. At the community level, like Georgette has said, Mary has been involved with so many groups. Sometimes you went to her when she was sick, and she would tell you, Lincoln, I had so many groups. And if something happened to me, you will see a lot of groups that you are not even seen before.
Hmm.
Because I'm involved with so many groups. I'm involved with the community. There are some groups I'm involved with, you don't know about them. They will come. And then during the meeting, I was hearing about the Basel sinking group. I was hearing about a lot of people, because some of Maria say, I'm going to the convention in Philadelphia. I'm in a Basel group. I said, Maria, you can sing Basel song. What are you looking for behind those people? You behind them, going with them. She just want to get involved with people, want to get involved with the community, want to be a part of people's lives. That's the kind of person she was. So her passing is a major loss to us, from Aja level, from the church point of view. I was saying last Sunday in church, Marie had a specific place she used to sit, and she had this African salsa she used to play. And when you go there and stand, you can imagine, Marie was sitting here yesterday and playing the salsa. That's the kind of person she was.
Thank
And
you.
just before she got terribly ill, Marie told us that, I got this money from Social Security or something. And Marie kind of made a contribution like 1,000, I think 2,000 to the church. And people are wondering, you're not well. Why did she say, it's God that blessed me with this money, so I have to give some back to God? So that's the kind of person she was talking about. And that time she was sick, but she could still walk around, still go to church. But that's the kind of person we're talking about. We would miss her. And like I said earlier, I
Can
can
I
imagine.
say?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So I just want to say that thanks to Mary, now I know how to collect the debt that people owe me. I just let them know I'm not well. I just let them know I'm not well and collect my debt.
So
So I was talking about the orange color, right? I was talking to Reverend Daddy, so he's coming for the funeral. So I was saying to him, hey, man, don't bring no black suit to that funeral, because
Yeah.
Mary doesn't like, to all those who come in, by the way, and this is serious though.
oh
We're trying to
wow.
encourage people not to bring black. Mary doesn't like
Wow.
black, right? And
Well,
Georgia
I'm
can talk about
sorry.
that. But I was saying to him, then he said to me, "Well, what's Mary's color?" I said, "Orange." He said, "Oh my God, I can't wear no orange suit." I said, "No, you don't have to wear orange suit. You can wear something else other than black, But to the question about how will this impact our job locally? If you all remember, just a little over a year and a half, 2 years ago, we lost Dima Savage. Dima was also a strong member of our local chapter. Not only that, she and Mary were incredibly close. To
Yes.
lose those two people in just a span of 2 years is a major loss for our chapter. I mean, how we recover from these two losses for people who were very involved in our chapter, I don't know. But hopefully, the president can see how he can, fill the holes. But those people can never be replaced. So, I mean, I just wanted to say that, we've lost two good people, two people who contributed significantly to our Agile locally, and we can never recover from those losses.
Thank you.
So
The line's open now. If
yeah.
callers want to call 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808, call in and let's hear from you as we continue this conversation. Go ahead, Moses.
Yeah, so I just want to go back to the president. Marie was one of your most supportive member. As an organization, how actively is AJA going to involve with this process? What are you guys doing? I know you're chairing the publicity committee. Besides that, what is your organization doing, Mr. President?
Oh, well, and the chief organizer of the whole event can speak to our role as well. One of the good things, I know we mentioned Mary being involved in these different organizations. One of the good things about being involved in these different organizations is that, you have people from this organization who can be able to provide services when it comes. So Mary is literally bearing herself. She got people who can do publicity. She got people who can do pictures. You got people who can do the live broadcast, and that is where we stand as an organization, as a media organization. So that's our responsibility. So we're responsible for the publicity. We're responsible for ensuring that all the events, from the wake to the funeral to the repast and the interment, they are all carried live. And we also will ensure that we have pictures, that will be taken to present to the family for souvenirs. And so, and then again, obviously, we stand ready. Whatever the chief planner want us to do, we stand ready to do that. But I mean, this is our funeral as much as anybody, and we'll be willing to do whatever we need to do. And I know many of our colleagues are traveling from across the country. They will be here starting Friday for the funeral. So I think it will be just a wonderful celebration this weekend. We get to honor her and bury her. Yeah.
Let me quickly ask Kadi this question. Kadi, when you look at the configuration of Aja, we the men, we're dominating the organization, dominating the context of membership, and losing two of our great women, Dima Savage and that of now Marie. How does it come across for you guys who are the ladies in the organization?
Wow. It's just sinking in, from Joe mentioning Sis Dima and now Marie. Um, the only thing I can say is these are irreparable losses that, it's unimaginable that we can, get people to replace Marie or Sis Dima. But the only thing I would say is I will ask Alja female members to step up to the plate. Sometimes, I feel, we don't do enough, and most of the time we feel that things should be handed down to us, or maybe because of the gender. That should not be the case. I will call a spade, like I will always do. There are a lot of women in Alja that I feel could step up and step into Marie's shoes and step into Sis Dima's shoes, and and be a touch bearer, you know, be active, very, very active, not just like how we all talking about Marie, not just like your name on the list, you paid dues and that's it. No, come to meetings, go to conventions, pay your dues. When there's something going on, participate. We got a lot
In
of,
fact, we're looking forward to a female president. We're looking
yeah,
forward
we're
to a
looking
female
forward
president,
to
the
a
first female
female
president in
president. Yeah,
Aja, right? Right,
yeah.
President Missing?
That will be wonderful. That will be
Yeah,
wonderful.
because the thing is,
Yeah.
we should step up to the plate. Don't just be in the corner and complain. If you want to change things, you gotta work for it. You gotta go, all of the sacrifices people make, these are things that when you believe in something, make sure this thing is what I believe in. Show yourself, put yourself into it. It's not like, oh, people less busy or they got too many funds. No, but this is something that is, you commit yourself to it. So why don't you just put yourself in it? We got a lot of women in our job, but sometimes I feel, so what is going on? It's like maybe if it's not me, Akai, or just very few people I can call. Priscilla and couple other people that would speak up, or maybe that will participate in things when things are going on. Um, that is something that really bothers me. I'm so glad, Volcano, you can bring that up, because I will admonish all the women in Alja. We can have our differences, which of course we all do, but for me, I don't have no problem with anyone. If you do something to me, I just tell you, well, this is what I don't like, and we'll move on from there. I will ask all of us to get together and hold Alja up. That's my plea.
What's this?
Thank you, Kari. Yeah. Georgette, any final message from your end?
I heard you asked a question, what is Alja role in this process? And Alja has a very important role. From the onset when we started the planning, and I was asked in the meetings like, oh, what do we have for videographing, or what do we have for broadcasting? I was like, I'm not thinking about that. Aja president is here. Marie was a part of Aja. I am leaving the entire media piece to Aja. So Aja has a very important role that they are playing, and I want to say thank you to you guys for stepping up to do that. Um, Final word to, as you spoke about Agile women, I want to encourage women anywhere, all around, step up, do your stuff. We can do this. And I know women can be really strong, powerful leaders. So Agile women that are out there, don't shy away. These guys will support you. I'm sure of that. So let's step up. But for the funeral, it was announced. Marie said she never liked black. So one thing we are sending the message, please don't bring a black suit. Put on a cream suit, put on a red suit, put on anything. She loved colors. Marie loved colors. And on her dying bed, the day, like few hours before Marie died, we asked her, Marie, what are your colors? Because even doing the fundraiser, I pick up the phone when we're looking for t-shirts. I said, what is it? She said, orange. I said, okay, we got you. On her funeral, on her dying bed, she said, my colors are lime green and orange. So while we are not restricting people to say put on lime green and orange, we will have scarves available. Lime green and orange scarves will be available at the church. We're gonna hand out. We're gonna have about 400. We're gonna give it out as first come first serve. It will be right at the church entrance. You get there early, you most likely will get it. After 400, we'll be done. But we're encouraging people, put on anything else. Grab a cream suit, a green suit, whatever you want to wear. We told people wear whatever you want for Marie. Just don't do black. That was her wish. That was her color, and that's what we are just asking everybody to. But I want to say thank you to all of you. It will be a great celebration. We know we'll see tears. We know people will cry. But Marie said on her last words, y'all don't cry. I don't want no confusion. She said it. She's like, I don't want no confusion. I don't want no too much confusion. I don't want no confusion. And I want you to just enjoy yourself and celebrate me. So that's what we're gonna give our best shot to do. And I want to say thank you to Aja for carrying this live like two different occasions. I have been involved in it. And I know you guys have been celebrating her. That celebration of life. She felt your love. She felt it. And I said this because the day Marie passed, that morning, she would pick up the phone and she said, call Georgette and call her pastor. And then she called her two power of attorneys and family member scheme. And she said, Georgette, I just want to tell everybody thank you. So the message she left for you guys and everybody, she said, thank you. So she said, thank you because she knew that the community, everybody was going to come around. And she said, I'm a part of a lot of organizations. So y'all don't worry, everything will be all right. So exactly that's what's happening. So we are grateful for the support. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia. We'll let you go now because I know you got some pressing things to handle. You're still planning. We still got days before this event. So thanks for coming through here tonight. It was a pleasure having you here in the issues room. Thank you so much.
And so we go to Kari, Lincoln, and Mr. President Milton for the final, statements. Kari.
Again, I would say thanks to the issue room team. Thanks to Lincoln and Mason because I know you guys are on the front line, you know, going through the fire for all of what are just supposed to do or what you're not supposed to do. I say hats off to all of you guys, including the whole team, Medicare, everybody that's in Minnesota. We are coming and, Anything that left over for us to do when we come there, we would do it. And I would also like to admonish the women in Alja to join me. Let's come along. Let's show up. Let's show up. We can show up for you too. This world is a stage. You come, you play a part. When you're gone, other people will do the same thing for you. So let's continue to be strong, in union strong, success is show. So our job will be successful if all of us can hold together. And I would like to say thanks for the invitation to this broadcast.
Thank you, Kadi. Thank you so much for your contribution. We'll let you go now
Okay.
to your other matters because you said you just got home. So
Yeah.
take care of the family.
So you
Thank
gotta you gotta have
Thank you.
dinner.
Thank you.
Got to eat some at your cat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lincoln?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to the issue room and you guys doing a great job organizing such a show to remember Mary. And just quick information I want to pass on here. Maybe we didn't talk about that. Aja, especially to the men, we will be involved with conveying the casket carrying Mary in and out of the church. It's called like it's a pallbearer, right?
Pallbearers, yeah.
We will be part of that team as well. So for men from Aja, we will be involved with that. We'll be helping with that. So I just thought to let us know so that we be ready. There are a few of us that are going to be at the church early because I'm told the wake start at 6 p.m. So we have to be there early to make sure we do that part of it. And then the funeral will start like 9:30. We have to be there early as well to make sure we do that as well. For those of us here in Minnesota and those of us coming from other states that wish to, give her that honor, conveying the casket that bearing the remains of our beloved sister. So I would like to thank you guys so much for the show and for remembering our sister. People will know that Mary had people that love her as well, people that work with her, people that remember her. She left a great legacy that we can remember. She talks a lot about unity and a lot about being together, celebrating her life, and people being peaceful. So that's something that will live with us in Aja. Those memories will be with us. That somebody who were part of us say we should always be united, we should always be peaceful, and there should be no confusion. So I thank you guys so much and giving me the opportunity to come here and talk a little bit about Mary's involvement with the chapter, remembering her. And yes, her loss is just something that we cannot replace, we cannot really replace her. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Lincoln. We'll take leave of you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, President Mason.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks so much for doing this. I was reflecting just a few nights ago how just over the last few years we've lost quite a few of our members, and those members were people who were deeply, deeply committed to Alja. You can go back and talk about Mr. Joseph K, and his role in Alja. We lost him a few years ago. You can mention Dima Savage, we talked about earlier, and now you talked about Mary's.
Mary, yeah.
Those are people who were really
And even Blama Robinson, who
Blamo
Yeah,
Robinson
yeah,
and Patrick
In fact,
Menjo.
he was our
Patrick Menjo,
coordinator.
who just buried recently.
Yeah.
But in all of this, what has pleased me the most, come away really positive about is the fact that when these things happen, we come together as a family, we come together as an organization to support the bereaved family, to be there for them, and to make sure that the members with loss are given the funeral they deserve. And that is something that I'm really, really pleased about because, again, like I said, Aldra is a family. So I want to thank all Aldra members for this show of support. I mean, the contribution that people have made to Marie's burial had just been mind blowing. Some of the folks
And
who
quickly, Joe, I don't want to stop you there, but the contribution has not ended yet. I can still make mine tonight, right?
certainly you can, certainly
Okay.
you can.
All
Oh,
right.
you want people to know you pay him, man?
Yeah, no. Listen, we busy. We get busy, my man.
I know,
I was
man.
not even
We
I was
find.
not even going to mention. I'm not going to say, but just pay up.
I,
No,
I
but
will
My
do.
man, I do need you, OB, my
I'll
man.
do my small thing tonight.
okay.
It's just I've been
No,
taking it to this
but
week.
Volcano, you wouldn't believe. I mean, if you look at the list of people who've paid, there are some people on that list who've never made contribution before, but they're coming through and paying and saying to me, oh, what is it that I can do? It's just an
That's
amazing
good.
show of support. And then those who are traveling here this weekend, it's we know how difficult it is to travel these days with airfare being expensive. Get a rental car, get a hotel, but people are committed not just to our job, but in the organization that we build this camaraderie that we have,
Yeah,
this attachment to one another. When something happens to one, we all want to identify with that person.
that's
So
true.
I think that's the trend that will continue to build in Aja, because it's not just about the eating, the drinking, and coming to this convention is about, caring about one another when we go through these difficult times. So I just want to thank every single member of Aja who've reached out. Again, thanks to you all just for making this program possible, that we can come and memorialize our sister, our colleague. And I pray that, this weekend will be just a weekend of celebrating her and giving her the homegoing that she deserved in terms of who she was as a person, what she meant to all of us. So thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
It was a pleasure having you. Hopefully, we can come again on a different note, maybe our next convention. But
Yes.
it's always good to have you. Thank you so much
Thank,
for taking leave of you now.
thank
Thank
you.
you, my
Thank you
brother.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you for all the work you continue to do.
All right, Moses. I just want to close with this eulogy, this video again one more time
Okay.
before
Yeah.
we call it a night.
Yeah.
So let me just get to this video and
That would be it.
what's wrong with this guy?
It's a beautiful production. Yeah, that's it.
I've seen the God of wonders doing mighty things, healing the oppressed, setting captives free. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star, the ruler of the nations, the great and mighty one. Heaven and earth adore me, angels bow before me. He's the mighty blessed one, the great I am. He is the great I am. Nobody like him. He is the great I am. He's holy and mighty, Lord. He's the great I am. The great I am. He is the great I am. He is the great I am. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. You You are the great I am. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. Nobody like you, Lord. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. King of all nations. You are the great I am. Greater than the greatest. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, Lord. Hallelujah, Lord, we exalt you. Your heaven declare your great and mighty power. The heavens declare your great and mighty power. You're greater than the greatest. You're mightier than the mightiest. You're stronger than the strongest. Better than the best. You're 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 better than the best. Yeah, yeah. You are the great I am. You are the great I am. Yeah. You are bigger than the biggest. Oh God. You're the soon coming King. You're the great I am. You are the great I am. Nobody like you. You are the great I am. Indeed, you're the great I am. You are the great oh God, Lord, you're the great I am. You are the great I am.
Which I get better if I feel like I want to go away. So I go away. When I get straightened and wait, I told myself going away. And I told myself everything I go on in the community if I get straight. I'm not going to sit down and be crying inside myself. I would go if I know I would live. Yes, I've been killing people. I would be the last. I would not give up. I will fight this. I will fight this by the grace of God. And don't always be on my side with the rest. So I thank you all your prayers. I thank you all. I'm so happy for every one of you.
Yeah, the lion and the lamb. Yeah, you are the soul calling King. Redeemer of my soul, lifter of my head, lifter of my head.
Women.
You are the
Yeah.
great
You want to say something?
oh Lord, you are the great nobody like you.
Well, this is how we're going to leave you here tonight on this broadcast. Been a long night. We've just eulogized and celebrated one of our colleagues, uh, Mariza, who passed away uh, last month. And we just had the officials of Aja, member of Aja, and also a community member in Georgette Gray, who is managing the whole planning of the events leading up to her uh, burial this weekend. Funeral service is Saturday, and the wakekeeping is Friday. We've covered it all. So Moses, there's not much we can do.
Yeah.
Time we've given her flowers,
Yeah.
and just looking at that video we played in the beginning and the after,
Man.
we can see that she was very confident
Yeah.
about surviving cancer. But again, as I said, God has his own purpose and plan for our lives. Irrespective
Absolutely.
of how we perceive the circumstances, he knows what's best. And he
Definitely.
chose to call her home. So may her soul rest in peace from my end. I think just a minute, just your final thought, and let's wrap this up.
Yeah. I would like to wrap up by saying that may the soul of our fallen sister and those of our fallen media colleagues rest in perpetual peace. These people were deeply involved with our organization, but again, death is part of human existence. So we just want to take solace in the quality time we spend together, the interaction and the contributions to not only our organization but to society. That's
Thank you.
how I would like to wrap it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back
Mhm.
here on Tuesday,
Oh,
Friday, rather,
Friday,
by
yeah.
the grace of God. And again, we say thank you to everyone who showed up here tonight: Myron, Sandy, James Davis, Raymond Clark, Tim Bungay, Glenda Jean Juniors, our sister from G Talk, Thomas Awaji, good having you. Thomas Harvey, Romeo Nabil, Alexander Hayes, thank you so much for showing up. Emi Bachu, Mapuho, and Fergie Monu. We'll be back here with our new little component of the Issues Room broadcast. What type of country is this? So remember, we're coming with more of what type of country is this, and we'll implore those of you who were here last broadcast to come back, start thinking about what type of country is this material you want to share when we broadcast on Friday. Again, thank
Friday.
you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Enjoy.